How the Nightingale of India became a governess.
Achala Vismaya Loka, an amazing world of limitless fun. Brought to you by Achala Bharati Trust.
Sarojini Naidu, the Nightingale of India. Sarojini Devi, also called the Nightingale of India, was a well-known orator and freedom fighter. People who have seen and interacted with Sarojini say her way of dressing, living, writing was like the royals. She was like a queen. When she came to public functions, she looked like a queen. When she spoke, she sounded like a queen. The attire she wore was one befitting of a queen. But there was no pride in her, hence she was loved by everyone. She was born on February the 13th, 1879. Her father's name was Aghoranath Chattopadhyay and her mother's name was Varadasundari Devi. As soon as we hear the names, we get to know that her parents were of Bengali origin. Her ancestors were known for their mastery over Sanskrit language, Vedas and the Upanishads. Thus the entire family was highly respected in Bengal. Aghoranath was also extremely intelligent. He had learnt English as well as the ancient languages Hebrew and Greek. He also knew French and German. His longing for reading was like that of a person's desire for sweets. If he did not learn something new on a particular day, he felt that the day had gone waste. He often said that a man who did not strive to increase his knowledge every hour was like a beast. Aghoranath was not only a literary scholar, he had keen interest in chemistry. He had earned his degree from abroad. The father's thirst for knowledge had a deep impact on his daughter. Sarojini's mother was also very well educated. She used to write poems in Bengali and sing them melodiously. During her student days, she had won the Viceroy's gold medal for singing. Aghoranath's fame reached the Nizam of Hyderabad. Desiring to spread education in his state, he invited Aghoranath to Hyderabad. Aghoranath was the great man who founded girls' schools all over the state of Hyderabad in those days. Hence Sarojini was born in Hyderabad, not in Bengal. Sarojini's mother saw her daughter's interest in poetry and shared her poems with her daughter. We can hence confidently state that Sarojini became a poetess due to her mother's interest and encouragement. As a child, Sarojini's interest in play was entirely different from that of her friends. She loved to sit on a chair and tell stories. The children too used to love her stories. They used to sit quietly and listen to the story without moving an inch. It is no surprise that the young girl who was capable of capturing people's minds later came to be known as a great orator. Sarojini was extremely fond of reading. She had learnt English and French. She stood first in school, but her classmates were not jealous of her. They had a lot of respect for her. She learnt more at home than at school. She had the knack for understanding what was being said immediately. A great daughter to a great father indeed. Let's hear how Sarojini became a poetess from her own words. One day when I was 11, I was sighing over a sum of algebra. It wouldn't come right, but instead a whole poem came to me suddenly. I wrote it down. At 13, I wrote a poem of 1,300 lines in 6 days. At 13, I also wrote a drama of 2,000 lines. Sarojini was sent to Madras to attend high school, a rare occurrence in those days when society believed that women and girls had to be confined to their homes. Sarojini was only 10 years old at that time. In her 12th year, she passed the matriculation exam with the first rank. After completing matriculation, Sarojini could have been admitted to college, but her poor health did not permit it. The doctor said that she needed complete rest since she was weak. He also advised her not to strain her body or mind. But Sarojini did not stop reading. By the time she was 14 years old, she had read the poems of most of the English poets. Her interest was not limited to poetry, it extended to philosophy and history too. The books in her father's library was not sufficient for her. She borrowed books from others and read them. Later she purchased books and read them. As she grew older, her mind began to shift towards poetry. We have mentioned earlier that Sarojini had written a play when she was younger. Her father, with the intention of encouraging her talent, published the play and distributed the books amongst his friends. This book reached the Nizam. Delighted with the talent of the young girl, he sent word to Aghoranath and sent Sarojini to England with a scholarship of £300, which at that time was a big amount. There she was put under the tutelage of a well-known woman, Miss Mannings, who was working for the well-being of Indian students. This changed the direction of the 16-year-old's life. This is because Manning's home used to be frequented by many famous literary giants. Sarojini became acquainted with many great writers, critics, and dignitaries. An attempt was made to admit her to the University of Cambridge, but one had to be above 18 years to get admission there. Hence, the 16-year-old girl was denied a seat. She used to listen to lectures at the King's College and continued to write poetry. Here is a little girl from India who writes poetry day in and day out was common talk in those days. In the meantime, Sarojini turned 18 and was enrolled at the University of Cambridge. But soon her health deteriorated. She spent several months in Switzerland and Italy, and once her health improved, she returned to England. But she had made up her mind not to pursue her education and was determined to return to India. Over the last 3 years in England, Sarojini had close interaction with Edmund Gosse, a noted critic. Sarojini would often visit his home, becoming his favorite guest. Gosse, who knew that Sarojini was a poetess, expressed a desire to read her poems. Sarojini gave him a large bundle of poems she had written. Gosse untied the bundle and turned the sheets. His disappointment on reading the poems was great. This is what he said to Sarojini: "You have a sharp intellect. You have mastered not only the language of the West, but also their prosody. Instead of writing about the birds in the West, make it a point to write about the flowers, plants, creepers, and other beautiful things in your own land. Write poems about the people of your homeland. Be the nightingale of India, not the parrot of the West." Sarojini decided to follow Gosse's advice. Let us now turn our thoughts to Sarojini's parents. Every letter they received from a place 6,000 miles away from their land contained praises of their daughter. She had made a name for herself, not only as a poet, but also as an orator. The parents, who had showered their blessings on their daughter on hearing about her achievement and fame, were unable to contain their happiness when the daughter stood in front of them. It is natural for us to ask whether Sarojini's parents felt bad that the daughter did not earn a degree from the university. But they both knew what true learning was. They were educated enough to realize that a degree forced down the throat of a pupil amounted to nothing. They both felt that their daughter had earned much more than a university degree. Both of them felt that learning from the world was more important than learning from the book, and were elated that their daughter had amassed knowledge. After returning from abroad, Sarojini married Govindrajulu Naidu. His father was a noted military doctor. Govindrajulu, like his father, was a doctor who had earned a lot of medical degrees abroad. He was serving as a medical officer in the Nizam's government and had gained the love and respect of everyone. This was an intercaste marriage. This is a common thing nowadays, but those days it was very rare. This is another example of the broad-mindedness of Sarojini's parents. It is said that the rays of the sun enable the lotus to bloom. Similarly, Naidu helped Sarojini bloom. Sarojini wrote poems on the life and culture of India, on the birds, the plants, the trees. These poems were songs written for satisfaction, not for money or success. At the insistence of friends, however, Sarojini published some poems and distributed them to her close friends and relatives. Her poems came in three clusters. The first was The Golden Threshold, the second was The Bird of Time, and the third, The Broken Wing. When The Golden Threshold was published, everyone who knew English praised its elegance. Here's an Eastern mantra. It's not just gold, it's pure unalloyed gold, were some of the words said in praise of the poems. There is probably no one who has not listened to Coromandel Fisher's Rise, brothers, rise. The wakening skies pray to the morning light. The wind lies asleep in the arms of the dawn like a child that has cried all night. Sarojini also named her home the Golden Threshold. Gus, who had previously read her poems and guided her, said, "I can confidently say that she is one of the best English poets." The literary world admired the beauty of Sarojini's poetry. The well-known literary institution, the Royal Society of Literature in London, chose Sarojini as their honorary member. It is a large institution where only intellectuals and genius poets and writers can become members. The British Empire awarded Sarojini a gold medal known as Kaiser Hind. Only 2 Indians have received that medal. Do you know who they were? Sarojini and Rabindranath Tagore. The people of our country honored her with the title the Nightingale of India. Sarojini was not only a good poet and orator, she was also good in housekeeping and cooking. Although she had the ability to hire nurses to look after her children, she did not like to do so. She took care of her children and also the household chores. She also loved cooking and was often seen in a soiled sari, toiling in the kitchen. She had the ability to cook several delicacies. We can say that she was an ideal daughter to her parents, an ideal wife to her husband, an ideal mother to her children, and an ideal citizen of our country. We had discussed about the life of Sri Gopal Krishna Gokhale in an earlier issue. Sarojini had close contact with Gokhale. Once Sarojini had been to Pune for reasons pertaining to her health. There she heeded Gokhale's invitation and stayed at the Servants of India Society. Gokhale would drop in every day to inquire about her health, and whenever he could, he would say words of encouragement. One day during his visit, he saw Sarojini in a depressed state of mind and said, "A singing bird like you should not fret over a broken wing." The words of encouragement became poetry. Third book, The Broken Wing, was inspired by his words. Gokhale continued to inspire Sarojini and gave a new meaning to her life. One day when Sarojini was in a sad mood due to her ill health, Gokhale stroked her hair, held her hands and said, "Daughter, stand with me and look at the great stars that are seen in the sky. See the magnificence of the mountains and take an oath. I offer my life, my talent, my song, my words, my thoughts and my dreams for my country." Sarojini was thrilled to hear these inspiring words. There was a tremendous change in her. She made up her mind and said to herself, "My difficulties are indeed few. My fellow countrymen are suffering a great deal. I might not have good health, but I still have the strength to serve them, to wipe away their tears. I will work to the best of my ability for the betterment of my nation." In the following days, she devoted herself to social and political activities. She spent days working for the victims of flood along with her husband, who provided medical assistance. She visited villages and urged women to get education, saying, "When women get education, the children become educated." Sarojini, the poetess, who was all along writing poems about a commoner's life from the comfort of her home, became one with the masses. Here are her inspiring words. "Today I stand in front of adventurous lads who have several dreams about the future. The time is now ripe to fight for our dreams. It is in your hands to win the victory for India. I, a mere woman, have left the comfort of my home and have come to the big bad world to realize my dreams. Come on, move ahead, be victorious." Thus, Sarojini, a poet, stepped into the struggle for independence due to the encouragement of Gokhale. When Gokhale, a father-like figure to Sarojini, passed away suddenly, she became close to Gandhiji. When Sarojini saw Gandhiji as a guru, Gandhi saw Sarojini as Ami Jaan. When Gandhiji was sentenced to 6 years of imprisonment, he said to Sarojini, "I have put the unity of India in your hands." Such was his confidence in Sarojini. When Gandhiji initiated the salt satyagraha, 51-year-old Sarojini followed the 60-year-old Gandhi like a daughter who follows her father. One is filled with admiration for the great woman who walked in the hot sun and slept under the trees for 23 days. Later, in Dandi, when Gandhiji violated the law by holding the salt mixed soil in his hand, Sarojini loudly declared victory to Gandhiji. When Gandhiji was arrested, Sarojini continued his work, attacking a salt factory called Dharasana, delivering a fiery speech that motivated the crowd and gave them courage to take the blows of the police without retaliating. Sarojini, who had been accustomed to a life of luxury and comfort, sat on the hot sand with a smiling face, uttering comforting words to everyone and also made everyone laugh. People were dumbfounded when they found her calm and courageous in such trying circumstances. Later, she was also arrested. Sarojini was chosen as the female representative of the Round Table Conference, which she attended with Gandhiji. The conference did not yield the desired result. On the contrary, they were arrested after they returned to India. Later, Gandhiji made the announcement of the Quit India movement. On August 8, 1942, Gandhiji addressed a gathering where he urged the English to quit India. On the same night, Gandhiji and Sarojini were arrested and imprisoned in the Aga Khan Palace in Pune. At that time, Sarojini's daughter was seriously ill. In spite of this, Sarojini had attended the event. For many days, she had no information about her daughter's health because the prisoners were not allowed to write letters to anyone. However, happier days followed and India gained independence. Sarojini became the governor of Uttar Pradesh at the insistence of Gandhiji and Nehru. She served as a governor for 20 months. Though she was in a prestigious post, she did not hurt anyone, for there was no pride or arrogance in her. Since she was the governor, she became the chancellor of the University of Lucknow. She had a lot of love for education and was concerned about the future of the children. Once in a speech, she made everyone laugh by saying, "I'm not a governor, I'm a governess." A governess is a teacher who teaches children in their homes. She was truly the governess of Uttar Pradesh. Somerset Maugham, a famous English writer, once said in a speech, "Sarojini Naidu is one of the most extraordinary women I have ever met." Sardar Patel said, "Her face used to be lit up by her smile and peals of laughter. If she entered a room or a public gathering, it seemed as if hundreds of lights were lit up at once. She spread light wherever she went." India's Nightingale, well-known orator, the lioness of the freedom movement, the brave woman of India, Sarojini was indeed an extraordinary daughter of India.